Prabhuta, may joy be manifested in and through you as an absolute truth in the essence of the being. I read a comment today regarding one of my live streams, and I wanted to share something because just to bring about clarity through the language and from the heart of where I'm seeing. The comment was, hate what God hates and love what he loves. And I got troubled on the inside of me regarding the word hate. So I decided to go ahead and take a look and see where, really the first time we can begin to see this, and take a look into Proverbs as written by Shalomo, which you would know as Solomon. His name means one who is complete, who is safe in mind, body, and estate, who is of the fire and the water, the essence of the mother and the father, the divine masculine and divine feminine energies, and has the instruction in his heart. He has authority within. His name finishes with a vav, which means he's connected to the esoteric, deep, hidden teachings of Father, found for those who are spiritually mature to walk those things out. And so he writes from that perspective, from that esoteric hidden side. So let's take a look at Proverbs and what is being said. And this was actually the first time that I saw this form being used within the Hebraic text. Might be used elsewhere, but for me, it seemed to appear this was the first time it was used. But regardless of whether it was or not, this verse jumped off the page at me, and so I'm going to share it with you. In the mechanical translation, first thing I want to point out to you is that we have words that were added for grammatical purposes. Things were not written in there. Are wasn't written in there. That is specifically doing with the grammar of English and trying to bring some continuity into that which they are translating. So let's take a look. Here's our word for hate, and we will get to that. But for now, let's start out with 6. Just the number 6. Okay, well, that's interesting. Not 6 things, it's just 6, those hate. Well, what is 6? The first thing that I find that is very noteworthy is we have 2 sheens that are side by side. And these are letters that represent the consuming fire. This is also letters that are connected to spirit, the fiery spirit that is within the center of our being at the heart level. This actually connects to Barashit, the very first word in the language, where I've shared in a video before that the covenant is the covenant of fire found within. So, Ish. So we've got 2 sheens here. This is really connected to the seraphim messengers that are on top of the Ark of the Covenant. They were called the cherubim, but it was the message of the mother and father, the firing angels, the seraphim, that were bringing about a message of transformation to us. So let's take a look here at the root of 6. We can see that it is an ordinal number, primitive number 6, as an overplus beyond the 5 fingers. But it's instructing us to go take a look at the word sus. And I'm so glad that it did, because you can see that here in Deuteronomy, this word to mean exult or rejoice was also written in this form. And I know that the vowel points have moved, but the vowel points were not added into until much later. So the text would have not had the vowel points. We wouldn't have gone from the sheen to the scene. It would have just been the letters. We would have seen 2 sheens here. We wouldn't have known that there was anything different, that they were actually written the same thing. And again, so things were added because those who were adding were trying to do certain things based upon their consciousness level. Now, whether you want to say that they were trying to manipulate, that's one way of looking at it. Another way is where their conscious levels were at that time. Could they have been trying to steer us in a different direction, or were they really trying to bring about security and sacredness to keep the intonation of the language itself? Well, I'll leave that up for you to decide. But having said that, these sheens together side by side in this regards is to exult and to rejoice. And you're going to see why this is so important. To be bright and cheerful. All right, well, that's good. To be bright and cheerful. I love that. So to be bright and cheerful, we have the word, now we're moving into those, hene, and hene is simply they. Well, let's take a look here. So it's a prolongation for hen, using as themselves, hen, they, just they. Simple, but notice this. It's the feminine plural from who. So again, if we don't know why things are changed and why they are written, it's pretty amazing to see, because this is where that was coming from. Hey, Vav Aleph, which is the spirit breath. It is the exhale that is connected to the inhale. This is the spirit breath of the breathing ones, that the revelation, when you connect to it, is an increase of the unseen being made manifest as the seen, as experienced, as felt when it's connected to in the heart. And I will let you know that this form in Aramaic also means to turn. Very interesting, because revelations, when you connect to them, will actually turn you, will change you, will alter you. And it's meant about to bring oneness, unity, the mystery of the many who are one, that revelation. So when we see that it changed to hen, what happened? Well, the Vav Aleph left. And so we have the revelation that is being brought to those who are in their fallen flesh. The noon is in its fallen state. But this is also a word that means lo and behold. Okay, so we'll just keep that in mind. It means lo and behold. Lo and behold. So getting back to where we were at. So we're looking about exalting and rejoicing, lo and behold. Well, lo and behold, they, what do we see here? We see that the noon is risen. It is not in its fallen state, which means this is connecting to our flesh, our avatar beings, changing state from its fallen to a risen nature. And we have a revelation that is flanking either side, which is really, again, we've got the two that are here, the seraphim, the mother and father, that are bringing the revelation of the spiritual path, the seed of life, that is also being revealed both through the teachings of mother and father. They point to the inside of you where the seed is deposited, that sprouts and takes forth life and is perpetual in nature. That's a great foundation. Lo and behold, there is something to sing about and exalt in. Then we get to the word hates. This is what I wanted to focus on this teaching. Yes, it has a meaning to hate. And again, depending on the vibrational frequency of the interpreter, of where they were at, you are reading the interpretations based upon the conscious level of that which the person that interpreted these things. I want to have you look at this. So it's hate, personally to hate. But again, vowel points, things like that, they would have only had it written in the letter form, the sheen, which is the seen here because the vowel point moving to the left instead of the right, the noon and the aleph. So sheen, seen, this has to do with the consuming fire. This is the 21st letter of the Hebrew and Aramaic alphabet, 7 times 3, divine spiritual perfection. It is tied to the spirit, the all-consuming fiery spirit, which is contained within this essence. So I'm just going through to show you, again, without any vowel points, without anything that is trying to steer you in a different direction. Look at what these letters also mean. To change. Same letters, different vowel points, but it means to change and alter. To change and alter, or, as they put it, to hate. So maybe you're beginning to see something a little bit different here. All right, so we got to the end of the letters and their change. So we can see that in its written form, without the vowel points, without the cannellation marks that were all written at a much later date, the word to hate also means to change and alter. To change and alter. So again, exalt and rejoice, lo and behold, hate, turning. changing, altering. Then we have the tetragrammaton, the yod-he and the vav-he, the mother and father, the power of the twin revelations that are meant to connect to your heart and expand you. Then we have, and so they put the and yes, okay. I don't know why they put the word yes in there. There is no yes here. It would be N7, N7, and then they put the word R. Because this little vav, when you're writing the form out, vav does and can mean and, but the word yes is can. It's nowhere to be found written here. So there were liberties taken in putting this in here. So what is Shabbat? What is this? So it can mean, it does mean 7, right? Let's go down and take a look a little bit more here. And by implication, a week, but by extension, an indefinite number. Indefinite number. And this is to swear. Also means to swear. As an oath. Look at this. To be complete. To be complete. Interesting, huh? Same spelling. It means to be complete. And we've seen that 7 in the week, the creation week, which was not literal. 7 was the last day in entering rest. So when you are complete in divine spiritual perfection, you enter into rest. So there's an oath that is being sworn. So when we take a look at this, it's saying connect to the Spirit. Connect to the fiery Spirit on the inside, which will give you the eyes to see. The hidden word that we have here is shuf, which means to turn, to settle as married. So connect to Mother and her teachings. It is going to lead you to be able to be settled and then enter into the process of being married. And you will then see. Hopefully you guys are following me on this. Something else I wanted to bring to your attention, and you would never, ever, ever see this, is this K and this Q. Well, what is this all about? So why is there a word here in brackets and then we have these in parentheses? Well, this is the katav. The K stands for katav, which means the written form. And then the Q means kol. It means kol. It means the called out form. So in other words, when this was being read out loud, whether it's in the synagogue or the temple, they would not give this form of the word. They would only give this form of the word. They would call this form out. And again, you wouldn't know this because if you don't look into these things, you would never know that there's a difference, that there would be the written form that they would not speak, but the called out form they would. So what is the difference here? They left out the vav. They left out this vav. So tav vav, vav tav. This is a mirror of one another. So the tav vav, this is a word that literally means exempt from judgment or the mark. So when everybody's looking like, oh, the mark of the beast, the mark of the beast, to be marked. This comes from the Ezekiel 8 passage where it says to mark them on their foreheads, where they will be passed over and no harm will come to them. You can go look at that Ezekiel passage yourself, that it means exempt from judgment. And because this is a mirror, this is the gematria of these letters are the exact same. But this is the portion of mother. You're exempt from mother's judgment, and you're also exempt from father's judgment. Because you've completed, you have their signature frequency on both sides, which means you've completed the education of mother. You've completed the education of father. Mother teaches the bride training, and father teaches the queen training. One is the external narrative of how to be around and function with other people, really summed up in the Golden Rule. And then the Father's teaching is about your inward journey, about reorienting yourself and healing yourself on the inside, so that your inside and the outside are reflecting one another. I'll say that again. So your inside and your outside are reflecting one another. And you literally can see it within how this word was written. But again, they'd never called it out that way. Again, study to show yourselves approved, to receive the mark of the mirror. Because when the mirror is present and both frequencies are mirroring one another, then you shatter the mirror, and that reflection is no longer having it sting on you anymore because you've completed it. Hopefully that's connecting to many other things that I've shared and didn't confuse you. So what is this word that we're looking at here, an abomination? So the root, when we take a look at the way that this is, it's abomination, okay? We have the tav, vav, ein, bet, and we have a hey that is actually on the suffix side. There's a reason why I'm showing all these things for you, because it's the feminine active portion, and that's really important for us to look at. Something disgusting, something as an abhorrence. This will make sense in a moment here to you. At least I hope it does. Here's the masculine form, te'ab. To loathe and to detest. To loathe and detest. Okay. So going from its masculine form, which is dealing with form, didn't need to bring that one up. It's not the same word. Going from its masculine form, let me show that again. Going from the masculine form to abhor, right? We can see these letters here. We can see the tav and the ein and the bet. And this is, the tav is covenant, it is signature, it is completion, it's the end. And what this is saying is that in the end, you will be given the ability to see from your heart that which is on the inside of you. Well, I don't know about you, but that's kind of like disconcerting there in a moment, you know. In the end, you will be given the eyes to see on the inside of you through your heart. Okay, so having said that as the masculine, then what is the feminine doing? So when it gets in its feminine form, take a look at what happens. In its feminine form, it becomes active now. What do we have? We have to be active to make this so it's not just static. So in the end, you are going to see from your heart the inside of you of that which you've built. Well, saying the only way you can do that is to pierce and connect to your heart. Of course it would be that way. So through the covenant, you can connect to your heart. It will give you the ability to see on the inside that which you have built. And then we have the hey. This is the feminine. This is the revealing of the unseen. This is revelation that is coming to you from Father's teaching, drawing you inside to be able to see fully what is an abomination. This is a description of the shadow work. Everything that you say that you feel about yourself, whether you know it or not, the things that you project on other people, just saying this is being revealed to you so that you can see it to do something about it. And then when we get it into its manifested form, if you do it correctly, then you'll get the mark of mother and the mark of father having completed it because you went through the mirror. You saw it. You saw it. And this word in the right in the middle is a word that means a cloud. So think about the cloud of great witnesses, those who have the eyes to see on the inside as a cloud that are exempt from judgment. But of course, it's missing the vav. It's missing that second portion. So in the called out form, it's missing this additional tav. So in the called out form, it never mirrors itself. These letters are very important, and when they're being left out, there's information because of their frequency that is not being translated out as spoken to the people that would be hearing it. So pay attention to what is written, not so much about why the called out form was there, because there was being something that was being kept away that we need to be able to refer to. And then how interesting that they would put the word him, because then it makes you think of Yod He Vav He, the Tetragrammaton. They decided to put it as him. But look at what this is. This is a word that means your soul. Your soul. But there's one more thing. That should be enough for you just to look at that and go, oh my goodness, your soul. But I wanted to share with you something up here. I got ahead of myself. And why this is so deeply profound. Because this Ein Bet Tov, this Ein Bet Tov means that we take a look at this, and it's the word that means dense, interwoven, entangled, to pervert and to wind, something that was wound and entangled. So in the called out form, it's saying when they were calling it out that this abomination is something that was wound and tangled of the soul. That which is wound and tangled, your soul. So what are we looking at? It is saying, exult and rejoice. Behold, alter and transmute and change through the mother and father's teachings. There is a swearing that this will take place to get you to turn so you can see yourself on the inside of where you have entangled yourself in your very own soul. So this has nothing to do with Father hating anything. There is a rejoicing when you go within and you begin to untangle yourself from the things that have wound and bound up your very own soul. And it finishes by saying that the only way you can do this is connecting to the deeper teachings of Father that bring you into spiritual maturation in the place of intimacy, in the inside of you, the dark hidden recesses, so that you can do your own shadow work. I hope that brought some more clarity. Absolutely beautiful about what is being said here, and it has nothing to do with hate. Absolutely nothing. Shalomo, shalom, kavutha, and namaste.